In 1932, Australia declared war, not on another nation, but on a bird, the emu. These flightless giants with their long legs and curious stares became the unlikely enemy of a nation. The battleground, Western Australia, where World War I veterans struggled to farm harsh, unforgiving land. Just as these ex-soldiers tried to rebuild their lives, disaster struck. A migration of 20,000 emus descended on their wheat fields. For the emus, it was a feast. For the farmers, it was devastation. Crops trampled, fences destroyed, livelihoods at risk. Desperate, the farmers, many of them former soldiers, turned to the government for help. Their request, military intervention, complete with machine guns. The Minister for Defence, Sir George Pearce, agreed. Soon, the Australian military was mobilised, not against an army, but against a flock of birds. It sounds absurd, but for the farmers, this was a fight for survival. The stage was set for one of history's most bizarre conflicts, the Great Emu War. The world was in the grip of the Great Depression, and these men had already faced enough hardship. Now, their greatest enemy was a bird that couldn't even fly. The government's solution? Send in the army. The war on emus was about to begin. The plan was simple. Send soldiers with machine guns to wipe out the emus. Major G.P.W. Meredith led the charge, armed with 2 Lewis guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. The government saw it as target practice. The farmers saw it as salvation. But emus weren't easy prey. Nearly 2 meters tall and fast as racehorses, they scattered at the first sign of danger. Instead of flocking together, they split into small, nimble groups, each with a lookout on guard. The soldiers set up, aimed, and fired at a group of 50 birds. The result? Chaos. The emus darted in every direction, dodging bullets with surprising agility. Only a handful were killed. The rest vanished into the bush. The soldiers, confident at first, were left stunned by their elusive enemy. The emus had turned a military operation into a farce. The first engagement of the Great Emu War ended in embarrassment. The birds proved to be a well-organized, feathered guerrilla force. The farmers watched in disbelief as the armies might fail to stop the onslaught. The emus had outsmarted Australia's finest. The war was off to a disastrous start. Major Meredith wasn't ready to give up. Spotting 1,000 emus near a dam, the soldiers set an ambush. But as soon as the gun fired, the emus scattered again, zigzagging, dodging bullets, and escaping into the bush. Even when hit, some birds kept running, seemingly unstoppable. The soldiers tried mounting a gun on a truck, but the rough terrain and speedy emus made aiming impossible. After a week, the results were dismal. Thousands of rounds fired, but only a fraction of the birds killed. The emus, it seemed, were bulletproof. The army's efforts became a comedy of errors. Machine guns jammed, trucks bounced, and the birds always got away. The first phase ended in defeat. The emus had won round 1. The soldiers, once confident, now respected their feathered foes. The Great Emu War was quickly becoming a national joke. The birds were simply unbeatable. News of the army's failure spread fast, and the press had a field day. Cartoons mocked the military. Politicians joked about medals for bravery against birds. The government was embarrassed, and the soldiers were recalled. But the emu problem only got worse. Fields were ravaged, and farmers begged for help again. Reluctantly, the government authorized a second campaign. This time, the army killed more birds, about 1,000 in a month, but it was still wildly inefficient. 10 bullets for every emu, and most of the 20,000 strong flock remained. Major Meredith admitted defeat. The military withdrew for good. The emus had won again. The Great Emu War ended not with victory, but with resignation. The birds returned to their feast, undeterred. Australia's military pride had been outmatched by a bird. The lesson was clear: nature doesn't play by human rules. Why did the Emu War fail? The military underestimated their opponent and used the wrong tactics. Emus weren't an enemy army. They were wild, fast, and unpredictable. Machine guns were useless against a moving target that refused to stand still. The government learned a hard lesson. Brute force can't solve every problem, especially against nature. Eventually, a bounty system replaced military action, and local hunters succeeded where the army failed. Over 57,000 emus were culled in 6 months, an effective, if less dramatic, solution. The Great Emu War became a legend, a symbol of human folly and the unpredictability of nature. It's a story retold around the world, how a nation's pride was humbled by a bird. Australia never declared war on emus again. The emus remained undefeated champions. Sometimes the simplest adversaries are the hardest to beat.